You know, my friend, it is good to see you. It is good to see you. How you doing, man?
I can't complain, man. Down for 2 weeks straight, man. Where you been?
Did the family thing. You know it's the summer. You know it's the summer and we respect all of our listeners out there. We know y'all got stuff going on for the summer. In my case, I took a nice little vacay, took a nice little trip overseas, had me some fun, sat on a beach. Actually, I'll tell you what, you know what was one of the best parts about my vacation? I left for a week. My vacation was hot tub, took out my tablet, and I turned on, like 3 or 4 days after it happened, Battleground. The cooler next to me was filled with beer, ceviche, more beer, champagne, and fresh fruit. And it was all, my assistants just bought it to me. Put it this way, where I went in the Caribbean side, I was the modern day Maharaja. And they treated me like I was a king, and I watched Battleground. And I'm not going to go into Battleground too much. I mean, that was what, almost 2 weeks ago. It's wasn't the most entertaining. There were some bright spots. I was glad to see the Maharaja win. Hey, man, I got to give props. I got to give props to you. I got to give props to you. Past 2 weeks, rode solo, kept the entertainment kept the entertainment factor going, son.
Oh yeah, trying to hold it down, man. Trying to hold it down for our community, for our jobbers, trying to make things go right. But yeah, it went pretty well, man. For the last two episodes, um, man. So I just got to get used to it. We got. While you was out, your boy here was hustling, and I got us lined up for 3 interviews and a possible Booker, not Booker T, but a possible actual promoter
Hmm.
um, in the next upcoming weeks. So I'm excited for us to be able to hash that down. So, I'm not good with the questions. That's your department, so I got to be waiting on your schedule.
Yeah, I got you, man. Well, I could tell you that I will be in Austin for a special wrestling event coming up soon in October. They got one coming up this weekend with Cody Rhodes and another one in September. To that, and let y'all fans know who that is once they get back to me. Once they get back to you, actually, on some inquiry. Good, busy 2 weeks. So honestly, I haven't talked to you much about it, but didn't watch wrestling for at all last week because I came back refreshed, looking tan, and you said, "Hey, just week," and I tried to blow you off. I tried, it didn't work. I tried to blow you off and say, "Man, I don't have the time to." And this was for the listeners out there. Sage told me on this past Tuesday, watch SmackDown from last week because it'll make this SmackDown better. And I said, no, you're going to tell me to watch Raw too. I can't cram 5 hours of TV and when I already got to watch SmackDown. Let alone I can't cram in last week's SmackDown when I got to watch this week's SmackDown. And he said, man, just watch it. Last week's SmackDown was good. Caught me by surprise. Whew. So this week's SmackDown. Let's just start off. You want to start off with this week's SmackDown?
I mean, we could talk about it. We could be about it. That's all good.
So let's get right into it. Nakamura Cena. Is that up there with match of the year candidate?
Oh man, I mean, it's. I think you have more than one. I'm just saying. I think you had more than one match of the year on SmackDown on Tuesday. I'm just saying, but it was a classic, man. I enjoyed it, and I think that they could have more. Um, I loved it, man. It was amazing. Definitely a candidate in the top. I would say in the top 10 of 2017 for sure.
Yeah, and we'll have our awards later in the year. We did the award show last year, which y'all could check out. But it's definitely, man, that was a dream match. Like Cena Nakamura, and it's obvious Cena's. I don't want to, but he's got so much going on outside the ring with the new Transformers movie and everything else he's got going on that he's not going to be around as much, or his days are numbered. But for him to put over Nakamura, and you have to remember Nakamura's like 36, 37, so it's not like he's putting over this 22, 23, 24, 25 year old who's kind of green or who's still new, isn't selling out arenas or something like that. But he's putting over a guy who's going to be really big. And I thought it was awesome. So let me ask you, when I got back to the States, I went on Twitter real quick, and I don't know what I'm missing or something, but a lot of the fanboys out there are complaining about the WWE giving free matches away on TV that should be on pay-per-view. And I read somewhere on Twitter that maybe Kevin Nash or some old WCW guy said that's what ruined WCW, is giving away free matches on TV. Now, we can't, maybe that was the case in the past because you had pay-per-view you had to make money off of, but now there's no such thing as pay-per-view because it's all on the network. So fill me in on what all this crap is about free matches on TV. Am I missing something?
No. So the last couple of weeks has just been kind of crazy in terms of the criticism the IWC is levied on WWE, specifically SmackDown, the last 2 weeks. Right after Battleground, there was talks about movement that came out about firing Road Dogg Jesse James from the creative team because of how bad Battleground was, and the bookings and things of that nature. But my thing is, man, and I was actually going to say this for another segment later in the show, but I might as well just kind of get into it. I'm at the point where I am upset with the IWC community because they complain that things are too predictable. And then when they give us something that's not predictable, like Battleground, all over it. They give, week after week, we hear complaints about how Raw is not to par, or how the storylines are stiff, or SmackDown is not this or not that. But then they try something new, something different, and they get crapped all over for it. And then now we're coming in here with the whole giving away great matches on SmackDown or on live or free TV. And you have to understand something. The landscape is totally different. Like, there's not really a pay-per-view anymore at all. Like, it's not the traditional pay-per-view where you pay $69.99 and you get the actual event itself. Almost everyone that is a true wrestling fan has the network in some form or capacity itself. That WWE is do from a business standpoint is to garner more people coming in to invest in the product, because at this point in time they're like Netflix. Like, they're at the point where they're not receiving any new growth because everybody's got it. And when you don't have any new growth, and that's when you start losing out money. It starts eating into profits. So this whole free match thing, like, they have to do this. They're in a position where they have to give away these free matches so that it can get you to get into the network, because that's the money right there, is buying that subscription service, that renewable service month after month. But this constant complaining, and to get back on track, this constant complaining with the IWC, it's got to stop, man. Like, it's literally got to stop. You either enjoy it as a fan and enjoy what they're trying to do, or you need to subscribe to something else. I mean, it's as simple as that. We're not going to always get what we want. It's funny that it's coming out of me saying that, but we can't always get what we want. And in order for us to be shocked like we were on Tuesday when Nakamura went over, we got to let things breathe. We got to give it time. We got to give them a chance.
Hey, it's funny that you say that you're bringing it up, and it's funny, and you just said it. It's funny that I'm the one saying that. But let me ask you something. You're a mark. Is there are the IWC, are they all marks? What is there a difference between the IWC and marks?
I mean, there's a clear distinction. I think the IWC would be more marks. Everybody in the IWC wants to be a booker, right? But nobody wants to go into the business to actually book things itself. So if you're not going to go in and give constructive feedback, constructive criticism, or allow yourself, it's a TV show, guys. Like I hate saying that, man. It really is. It's a TV show. It's like The Walking Dead, right? Dead. But if you knew everything that was going to happen week after week after week, why would you even invest in watching it? Let somebody else bring their creativeness to the product itself. Yeah, they're not going to hit home runs every single week, week after week after week. And that standard is kind of terrible in a sense because you're letting yourself down, and then you're voicing it to somebody else, and then it becomes a hive mentality kind of thing, and then you're trying to get people fired who are legitimately trying to make things compelling. The piece that is upsetting to me is that we're actually trying to fire somebody for trying to bring something different and something new to the product. SmackDown and Raw are two separate products, right? They're two separate products. We got two separate creative teams. But I hear more raving about SmackDown versus Raw, but yet SmackDown is getting all the shit when it comes to the pay-per-view, like E for explicit.
I agree, man. And the thing with the IWC is, I see football players. They want to, but they don't want to be coaches. And I'm not trying to crap on the guys. I think that the IWC, some are marks. I think there's more marks than IWC people because, I mean, marks are people who WWE when they were 3 years old, and now they're 50. You know, these guys grew up on the old NWA stuff that turned into the WWF, that turned into WWE, and they're still fans. And then there's these young guys who didn't watch the Attitude Era but watch it today, but still keep up, and they're fans of the independent scene, Wrestle Circus, ROH, all those guys. So I consider myself a mark. I've been to ROH, going to go to Wrestle Circus here in a bit. Like, there's I agree, man. The UE doesn't cater to you. I would think of everybody you see, you're like maybe 10% of the total audience that watches it. Fools probably bootleg it and stream it. I think you're right, man. And it's kind of made me jaded on. I don't go online to look for anything wrestling at all. I just sit back, enjoy the show, and watch it. Sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I like a guy, sometimes I don't. It's whatever. It's like you said, it's a TV show. But the IWC, you're right. It's like they want to know stuff, but they don't. They're just going to complain. I see it all the time. There's people who are just going to complain about anything. Jinder got a push. Oh man, Jinder's trash. They're only pushing him because of India and Indian and all this stuff. So now, don't get me wrong. Battleground wasn't that entertaining.
Remember the title, like before Jinder Mahal made a play for the heavyweight title. Do you remember what the complaint was before he was even in the picture or even was thought of?
What was it?
I'm guessing that's a no.
No, sorry. Sorry. No. Sorry if it broke up on the live feed, but no. What?
So the chief complaint was that the same people are revolving around the belt. Give me something different. The same people are going around the belt else or bring the storyline around somebody else. They went in a whole total different direction, like out of left field. And yes, it might have been a business thing, but again, hey, newsflash, this is a business. But they went in a total different direction. Meaning, like, give it time to give let it breathe. Give it time to manifest. Give it an opportunity. It's not going to win every time. It's not going to succeed anytime. But you know what? We've gotten different lineups. We've gotten different types of storylines out of it. Just be happy. You know what? I say take the IWC IRWP challenge. Stay off the dirt sheets for a whole month and watch wrestling and see if you have a different attitude towards how wrestling is. Because you know what? When I was growing up watching it through the Attitude Era and through the Golden Era, our dirt sheets were magazines that had all the information in it after the fact.
Yeah, they came out like a month afterwards. Yeah.
The dirt sheets, right? Stop living in the and it for yourself. If you love wrestling that much, just stay off the dirt sheets.
So let me ask you then, and shout outs to Stephen Thatch, our regular listener who's joining us on the live chat. He's saying, I've seen a bunch of bitches in Facebook all the time complaining about race, gender, parenting, this, that. People in general just love to complain, and you're going to have the complainers. So, that makes sense. If IWC is like 5-10% of the fan base, I'm just guessing, I don't know, but I assume it's minimal. 5 to 10% of the fan base, 5 to 10% of the people complaining really isn't that bad. That means 90% of the other people hopefully aren't complaining. But you're right. Like, it's funny because people complain online about, oh, we want something different. Then they get Jinder Mahal. Then they complain about, man, this guy sucked a week ago. But then they're saying, bring in Kenny Omega. You're saying, give me something different. We give you something different. Then you say, bring in the guy from, and Kenny Omega's amazing. But then you say, no, I don't like that. Give me some guy from Japan. What, like, you get something different. As a matter of fact, the SummerSlam main event is different. Jinder, India, versus Japan, Nakamura. Because think about it. What made this match so great, John Cena and Nakamura, what made that match so amazing is everybody truly thought deep down inside, Cena's going to win. He's going to go into SummerSlam as Mr. America and beat Mr. India for the title, and then they'll just rematch a bunch of times or whatever, and John Cena will break the record. The world title record held by Ric Flair. I was saying it on the podcast a couple weeks ago. No, I have a feeling Jinder's going to lose to Super American Cena. We all thought that. And then Nakamura, who's not Super American, who doesn't speak English to save his life, got the win. Fair. 2 Kinshasas, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm tired of the complaining, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just be happy, man. We're getting something that we haven't ever seen in WWE before. We're getting 2 different, like 2 completely different nationalities for the biggest prize in the WWE in itself. Like,
and strong
happy,
style too.
Yeah, be happy for that. We finally have a face Japanese wrestler vying for the top title.
Well, you're biased towards the Japanese culture. You're super biased towards the Japanese culture. So
that I am, but I mean, it doesn't make it any less true, right? Who in the history of WWE?
Well, I don't know who's going to be as big as. I mean, Nakamura, chance to be huge because, I mean, we've talked about it before. Nakamura's got like endless possibilities on how big he could possibly get, and he's the Michael Jackson, the Prince, or whatever of He's the Michael Jackson, the Prince of the WWE. He's going to be huge no matter what. So, I mean, I think it's great. And then I would hope, I don't know if they'll show it or not, but Nakamura is the king of strong style. But Jinder Mahal just literally knocked out Finn Balor, what, 2-3 months ago in the ring, right before the brand split? So Jinder Mahal could work stiff too. So I think that could really work. Real quick, I want to give shout outs to Stephen Thatch on the live version in the chat. He's saying the Attitude Era was awesome because there was no IWC. Now wrestling is where it's at, not because of WWE, but because of the bitches in the IWC. And it's all about the Asian persuasion. No, it's not. Well, I guess it will be because I'm going for, I'm going for Nakamura. So it really is all about the Asian persuasion. But he's right. There was no IWC in the past. And by IWC, we mean Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. You didn't have that in the past where you could find out stuff. So let me ask you this. Business-wise, I'm going to give you a comparison here. So there's Walking Dead. You mentioned Walking Dead earlier. And this goes in right in line. And from time to time, we talk about IT security. HBO, I don't know if you heard, was hacked. And Game of Thrones script details were hacked and taken. Other personal data was taken within the company. Some company data was taken. And then a couple of episodes of Ballers, a couple of episodes of a show that's not even coming out until next year were stolen. So that's bad. And HBO's on top of it, right? HBO doesn't want that stuff getting leaked. Take a huge show like Survivor. That's a big show. It's been around over a decade. Empire, all these big name shows that are on TV. They make their actors and actresses, and on reality TV, those actors, like on the reality game shows like Survivor, they sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. You cannot say anything at all to the public because we're recording something that's going to be on TV in a couple weeks to a couple months. The dirt sheets out there go and report spoilers for the WWE TV shows. For example, like I said earlier, I haven't been to the dirt sheets in forever. I went to one to read, I think I went on Wednesday morning to read results from last week's Raw. I thought, all right, let me go to this dirt sheet website. Then I could read results from last week, see what I missed on Raw, and be all caught up, even though I watched Raw this week. And one of the links there was spoiler on who should win, who's going to win tonight. Click on it on Nakamura Cena. So I click on it because I'd already watched the match, and lo and behold, before the Nakamura Cena match has started, it says, quick spoiler, our sources backstage are telling us Nakamura is going over Cena tonight. And it was before the Cena Nakamura match aired, and Nakamura is going to go on up to SummerSlam to fight Jinder Mahal or whatever. So first off, if you're airing spoilers, you're a dick. Complete. Like, you're just a dickhead. Second, they're getting that information from somewhere. And you know what? I call them dicks, but if they're making money off of it, dude, that's your way of living. Go for it. But how does the WWE, a publicly traded company, not have guys sign NDA? How does information leak? Are you telling me there's no NDAs?
I mean, I really can't speculate. Although I'm good with contract law and stuff, I can't really speculate how the wrestling business works in terms of that stuff, because a lot of from what I understand, there's a lot of stuff that just happens on the fly, and then there's a lot of stuff that's leaked just so that they can kind of gauge what a reaction actually is. You know, what the quote unquote popular opinion is. So it's kind of a way of control, like it's kind of a way the president can control the media. The WWE or the other wrestling factions can be using that as a measurement per se, because God knows that that those emails that they keep sending to us on what should be in a House of Horror matches are by email, that doesn't suffice. But to say, I think that a lot of it is intentional, to either do a swerve or to kind of get an understanding of what people would think or how they would react. The problem is that you're you're kind of feeding the beast of the IWC. For as much crap as I'm giving the IWC, is just as much to blame, or other wrestling factions that use that as a tool are just as much to blame, because they're the ones who are, like you said, leaking that stuff to them and feeding that to them. And it's just convoluted, man.
You know, and I think that I don't think they're doing it to feed the IWC. People are leaking stuff from the inside to the dirt sheets. I know the dirt sheets are wrong like 80% of the time, 90% of the time, but
Not Meltzer, man. He's only wrong 10% of the time.
Don't get me started. The stuff I hear and read sometimes, I just think, oh my God. And props to him. He's been doing this forever and he's making some money off of it. And he's met 20 million times more wrestlers than any one of us could think of. But I just don't know. I think that there's wrestlers or script writers or producers or whatever that leak some information that they probably shouldn't. Maybe they're getting paid for it. And I think that, honestly, all wrestlers should have to sign, and production, and if you have anything to do with what's on TV, you should sign an NDA. And do you think that WWE should send Meltzer and these guys with all the dirt sheets and the podcast and all that stuff that are telling spoilers for future plans, should they send them cease and desist letters?
I mean, what's the point, man? By the time it's already out there, they could just do a 180 and change it on the fly. I mean, that's kind of the benefit of being a live weekly TV shows, that you're able to do that. But I think that, and it goes back to it being a tool for them to use to gauge reaction and responses. I think that it's in their best interest to do an NDA, then anything that they communicate themselves out will become like an official statement. I mean, who's to say that Triple H, I'm just using it as an example, doesn't go and tell Joe Schmo to, hey, on the internet that Chris Jericho is going to be returning, but don't tell them when. Just let it be out there. Like, it's garners publicity, and publicity sells events, and a tool for them.
Yeah, it's tough. Spoilers leak all the time, but you're right. Maybe the WWE is part of that to gauge interest. I don't, and it's because they could change plans on the fly. I mean, it's a scripted show that's scripted literally day to day, week to week.
Yeah, but we all know that things can change literally like during the middle of a match too. So it's
Yeah. Speaking of, fill me in on this AJ Styles Kevin Owens stuff, because you tried to explain it the other day, and I'm still lost. And even this week, kind of looked like a botch type thing.
So at Battleground, during their match, the referee got bumped, or took a hit, and I think AJ rolled up Kevin Owens for a bridge, and his shoulder was completely over. But the ref counted 3. Like, it was just weird. He counted 3, and before, literally right before his hand hit the 3 count, like Kevin Owens music just like hit. So it kind of seemed like that wasn't really supposed to be the finish of the actual match itself. And I don't know if it just got changed mid-term or mid-match, or if just it seemed like either the ref or the production, someone was not on point itself. And you could tell because the following week, or the following Tuesday, like, they made no mention of AJ's shoulders being out, like up during that pin at all. Like, they made no mention of it whatsoever. So come this Tuesday, they basically did the same exact finish, but made it to where was the one who had his shoulders completely up. and the ref didn't see it after taking a bump. So
I assume it's going to lead to a match at SummerSlam, right?
My guess is, my guess is that, well, yes, there is a final match between AJ and Kevin Owens for the title.
That's right, with Shane McMahon as the referee. I forgot. Yes,
Shane McMahon as the referee. So I think the consensus is that there's going to be an Owens McMahon match sometime in the future, and this is going to be the catalyst for it.
I could dig that.
Yeah, I mean, I can. I anytime you can get Shane in the ring, one of the big events, and it's not taken away from like other. I'm all for it. I mean, he's entertaining. He puts his heart and soul into his matches. He's crazy as hell, and I enjoy it. I just don't want him to kill himself, but like, why not? If we get it twice or 3 times a year, a match with Shane O'Mac, complain about that.
So you just said you can't complain about that. Let me rephrase that. Can't complain about that. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say you can't teach that. And I'm going to say you can't teach Enzo how to get a dub, because Enzo sucks. Yeah, that's almost like my catchphrase, because I said the same thing a couple weeks ago. I love listening. You know what? When he comes out, I listen to the pop, and I sit and listen to what he has to say on the mic, because it's so awesome. And I'm talking, Enzo, if you're listening to this, I'm talking about the character, bro. Enzo sucks. Like, Big Cass kicks his ass every time he comes out to the ring. He's got to end up in 205 Live, right?
I don't know what's going on with Enzo, man. I have a feeling that this has something to do with like off camera, out of the ring stuff that's going on, and he's kind of getting punished for it. Because you only see this kind of crap like if you do something completely wrong. That's all I can really say about that, man. You could tell that there's no creative behind his character. There's no creative behind Big Cass, despite like the new music that they debuted last week, I think, for Big Cass. Well, hopefully that's just a work in progress, just something to separate it. But they definitely don't have anything going on for these two with whatever's going on with Cass again behind the scenes is affecting his character.
Enzo, you mean?
It could put everybody in jeopardy at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, he might even become a manager, because he's
might be out the door.
He could talk on the mic better than anybody, and he could sell, like when he sells how bad Big Cass broke his heart, man. Like, so he could sell on the mic. He's like not up there, but he's like Paul Heyman. He could sell on the mic. But I mean, if he went to 205 Live, he'd be the best on the mic in the entire Cruiserweight division by far. And I've said that before.
But 205 Live is, I don't even know if they're going to even have another 205 Live the next couple of months. Like, I feel as though that after the Mae Young Classic thing ends, women's are going to start their own show, and that's going to kind of take over 205 Live. And they're just going to incorporate 205 Live between Raw and SmackDown.
So what do you mean?
It's all pure speculation. It's not coming from any other source. It's just, it kind of seems like it feels like the same mold as when the CWC happened. It feels as though that they're just scaling back on a lot of the stuff. They're going to make a huge investment, and I'm hoping they're making a huge investment too in the women by having their own show. But you guys, I mean, you got to come around the hurdle of what made 205 Live hard for the switch off SmackDown and launch the network app to watch it. There's got to be something there's got to be some type of buffer in between to keep people involved.
Well, see, I think it's smart to have 205 Live after SmackDown because it's bedtime for a lot of America, especially during the school year for people who are going to watch 205 Live. If you're not going to watch, if you're not in school or something, elementary or middle school or something, I mean, think about it. On the East Coast, 205 Live comes on at 10 o'clock at night. So it's good because it's hey, grab your tablet and go to bed. That's what the way I took it.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine doing that to the women. Like they already get a bad rap as it is. Why are you going to bury them even further by not putting them in a prime time slot? It just to be honest
Yeah, I
with you,
agree. I don't
I
know.
wouldn't mind if they just kind of went with a WCW format and just stripped the second hour to make it dedicated for just the women straight out. I think that that would be a better way to go than to put them on their own program.
Yeah, but that's tough because if the women's division hits a rut, and wrestling does it from time to time, where a certain division like the mid card or something like that isn't all too entertaining. If the women's divisions, and I'm assuming you're talking about Raw, with the 3 hour show, second hour is all women and cruiserweights. But if the cruiserweights aren't entertaining, Aries leave, then you know every week, like, oh, the second hour is this. I'm going to turn something else on. I'm going to turn Monday Night Football, which is coming up in a month. I'm going to turn Monday Night Football on. Or I'm going to turn something else on. And are you really going to come back for that third hour? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. The marks will, but
you would be more inclined, like the second hour is always going to be a bust for them. So if they've got to fill it with something that's a little less action packed, and that's terrible. That's not what I meant. Um,
yeah, that sounded pretty rough.
like
I saw where
let's
you.
see, yeah. If they're trying to, so the start of the third hour is usually where halftime kick out. So that second hour, putting it in between women's and cruiserweight, I think would be a good idea, because it'll get eyes on there, but it won't distract from your main product.
And we could both agree, get rid of the purple ropes.
They already have. This is like the third week straight where they've stopped using the purple ropes.
Oh, really? They just used
Yeah.
the same.
It's the same, yeah, the same ropes.
Good. I think the cruiserweight thing is fine. I think people had high expectations that it was going to be this big thing that revolutionized and brought back the WCW cruiserweight thing. It's a work in progress. They debut it. It's not even going to be good for. It's like anything like in corporate America, you pilot something and you hope it'll be good in a year and a half to 2 years. Same thing. It's just us
It
in
made
wrestling.
stars.
It did. I mean, think about it. It made Neville bigger than he's ever been. Austin Aries was awesome. Jack Gallagher was awesome.
Yep.
So I thought it's gone well. Hopefully, the wrestling has a lot to go through. I think that a women's show might be a bit tough unless it's directly on the network, which I assume it will be. But who knows? We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what the cruiserweight division's going to do. So, kind of briefly, what's going on Raw and SmackDown this week. So, who gets the new theme song of the week award? Is it the Usos? Or did they debut that one? I didn't watch it. Or is it Seth Rollins?
That music was hot. The Usos, man, that music was hot, man. Straight out the gate, fire, son.
I'm gonna have to download that. I didn't realize they had new music, or lyrics to the music, really. And then Seth Rollins. He doesn't have a new song, but what does it say? Burn it down. Somebody yells out, "Burn it down."
Something like that, man. I actually haven't heard it, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's bad. So his new shirt says "Burn it down," and right before the beat drops in his new song, somebody yells, "Burn it down," and the song starts.
I think it's just temporary for 2K18.
You got to hear it. It might stick around for a while. Once you hear it. And then, by the way, on Raw, he wore a new shirt that said "Burn It Down." So,
yeah, I saw the shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? You think the Shield's going to get back together this year?
I I was really thinking that was going to happen.
Especially since you talk about war games all the time. You talk
Yeah.
about war games and these big battles all the time.
It's got, if you're going to pull the trigger on factions versus factions, like this is the year to actually do it. You've got the Miz Taraj, which is actually really, really good. Love Bo Dallas's look, man. It's amazing. You've got the Balor clubs hanging out there in the wings. Something with Jinder Mahal and his faction group with the Singh brothers. I think you have all the components to do a War Games. You just got to pull the trigger. Survivor Series presents War Games. Bring the Shield. Bring the Miz Taraj. Bring the Balor Club. Bring Jinder Mahal. Let's get it done. What are y'all waiting for? Let's get it done.
Oh, yeah, I know. As much as you would love to see War Games, I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see it. I thought it was a cool concept, but until then, we're stuck with the Punjabi prison matches. Didn't that look terrible, by the way?
Yeah. So, God, man. And I talked about this last week. I felt so bad for the people who were actually in the arena, especially the ones who were where the commentator sections are and anywhere that's around that area. Because once they escaped to the second part of the cage or the bamboo, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Oh, I could only imagine the viewing being rough. So what's been good about Raw? We've been talking about a lot of SmackDown talent. What's been good on Raw these past 2 weeks?
The good thing about Raw is Braun Strowman, man. Just manhandling people left and right. It's refreshing and it's great to see.
Is he a face? Would you consider him a face?
I think by SummerSlam he will be once he takes the title. The question is, who's he going to pen for the title? Because he ain't penning Roman Reigns for it. That's for sure.
Oh, at the end of the day, at SummerSlam, it's a fatal four-way. I give you my absolute word, Samoa Joe's going to take the pin.
Man.
He's somebody who's a veteran. He has no... this is going to sound so bad, but he's got no upside because he's already great. There's no like, man, this guy's going to be good in 5 years. No, he's solid. So if he loses this match, he could come out of it and say, wait a minute, you had me fight 3 other beasts and I beat them all up and I just happen to lose at the end. I deserve a rematch or I deserve to be a heavyweight contender or whatever. Like Joe's the only one, I hate to say, who can get pinned and lose no steam because he's just that good.
I mean, that to me, that's the consensus and probably the smartest thing to do is to do. I mean, I remiss to say that I wouldn't take any pleasure if Roman, because I would absolutely love it. But Joe is the safe bet, and it gives Brock, I guess, his ultimate. Well, because if Brock loses, I mean, his ultimatum is that he's going to leave. So this is what I was thinking, Goose. And I know that they keep saying that this can't happen, and I know that it more than likely will happen on SmackDown, but what if Brock wins, but Corbin cashes in on him?
It's not going to happen. I told you before, Shane McMahon has said multiple times on TV, Corbin gets a shot at the heavyweight title, not the Universal. So I'm sorry, Sage. I'm going to give it to you official. Me and you are both hoping, like if SummerSlam ends, because they're all on the same show, I would love to see Corbin cash in on Brock. If anything, I'm actually worried that Nakamura is going to beat Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal, the Singh brothers, and Great Khali are going to beat up Nakamura, and Corbin's going to trade in on or cash in on Nakamura. That's actually my concern from SummerSlam. We'll get into that in a few weeks with my SummerSlam predictions. That's actually what I'm really afraid of.
That cash in on
But
SmackDown is going to be a lose-lose situation, man. If he cashes in,
oh yeah, big time. It's going to be a super lose-lose situation because he's going to cash in, and unfortunately, he's going to beat Nakamura. And when he does cash in, it's going to be a whole another thing, you know? And it just it stinks. I just know that he's not going to cash in on another. I don't think he's going to cash in on Raw.
I just think it would be a better. I think it would be better if he did cash in on Raw, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Okay, let me ask you this then. What are the chances? Give me a percent chance, assuming he could cash in on Raw as well. What are the percent chances that he cashes in at SummerSlam in general?
I think there's a 90% chance that he cashes in at SummerSlam, period. I think that it's probably a 30% chance or less, maybe 25%. And I'd probably say a 15%. 15% chance that he cashes in on the Universal title. Think about it. It's still, if you're going for the shock factor, controversy too, which would be a good thing too. Like if he
Yeah, if he truly cashes in, the Universal title would be something way different if he truly cashes in on anything at all. You know what I mean? Like, especially if it's against AJ Styles or Kevin Owens, I think it could be something fairly epic. You know what I mean? Like it could be something just completely unreal.
Yeah.
And different. You know what I mean? So
I don't know.
the women's division.
It'll
He should cast it in the women's division.
be something different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So other than that, have I missed anything else on Raw? Other than Braun is awesome? Or is it just pretty much at the end of the day, hey, Braun is amazing? I'm going to assume by your silence that Braun is awesome. I'm going to assume heavily. Oh, man, you just got a cameo by the cat. Uh-oh, the cameo by the cat. So, no, I assume that Braun is awesome. I think that like I asked you earlier, I don't know if he's a face or what, but I'm not going to lie. I mark out every single time that Braun comes out, like solid mark out. But I can't tell if it's – I can't tell it. Are we at a point where we are marking out when Braun comes out because he's feuding with Roman? Or are we marking out because he's feuding in I love this super heavyweights thing that they got going on because it's even the Fatal 4-Way is all super heavyweights. So I like what they have going on, guys. I really like what they have going on. I like the fact that it's 4 heavyweights that could whoop anyone's ass at any given time. I've said this before on the podcast. Like, it's awesome. And some of the fanboys out there, the IWC and all that, they're going to say, oh, well, you know, I'm not sure. They're just trying to push Roman Reigns down our throats and all that good stuff. But I disagree. It's just these 4 guys who could legit – I mean, think about it. You have Braun Strowman, who he just wants to mangle somebody. He just wants to mangle somebody so bad that he didn't even care about winning or losing. Samoa Joe's just an ass kicker. Roman Reigns is super Roman, and Brock can just beat up anybody. So it's amazing, like, what you got going on with these guys, and they're in the heavyweight title picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're in the heavyweight title picture, which is just, it's amazing, right?
I agree, man. I be able to get a heavyweight title in the Universal that's going to go more than 15, 20 minutes, where everyone can work stiff as much as they want. This is a recipe for greatness. Like, it really is. It really will give the opportunity to showcase everyone, and it will be total destruction throughout the entire thing. I'm I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see Braun mix it up with Joe. I can't wait till he mixes it up with Brock Lesnar. It'll never get old him beating up on Roman Reigns. It's just something that we love. Yeah, man.
See, and that's the thing. I agree. Like, you have trades in this match and something new, because at the end of the day, all four of these guys are in for a push, and you don't know who's going to win, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, it could go very different ways. And again, we could possibly get a cash in, which we just don't know. I mean, it could be the surprise of all surprises. And that's what wrestling is all about, man. That's what wrestling is all about. Just being able to suspend the belief, have those options available to you, and just get surprised out of nowhere of what the outcome is. Not to beat a dead horse. I'm just saying, man, that's how I've always grown up with wrestling to be, you know.
I agree. So this week, outside of the ring, I don't think there was a ton of news or anything like that. But I don't have much more else. You've caught me up. I got to give props. Sage the Mark, follow him on Twitter. Hit him up at Sage the Mark, because he's kept me up to date in a good way on what's going on in wrestling in the past 2 weeks. But I don't have much more else, man. You got anything else you want to cover this week?
Before we get into the shout outs, just want to kind of remind everyone who's listening that we are running a contest. Where we're going to have drawings on August 28th, September 28th, and October 28th, leading up to the release of WWE 2K18. If you want to get in on it, all you got to do is screenshot that you're subscribed to the audio podcast IRWP, Stitcher, Google Play, FM Player, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. Look up It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Take a screenshot of you being subscribed to it, and then post it on your favorite social media with the hashtag IRWP. Don't worry about which one, because we're on all of them anyway. So
yes, sir.
Just do that. We're going to do those pre-drawings for you guys, giving away a free copy of IRWP. Let's go. If you want some added bonus, John, we got all the details there for you as well. So ready to get into some shout outs?
Yeah, we had some really good social media interactions. So let's go ahead and get in these shout outs. Who you got, Sage?
To the shout outs. Hit the music. Now that the music. Let's get into these shout outs, son. We got to work on that soundboard, man. All right, guys. Let's start out. Ignacio, thank you. I'm just going to go through all the people who have followed us for the last week. So first off, we have Ignacio at Iggy Zombie 20. We got Mathis Thrasher, TW Central WWE. Got Lawrence Dennis at TX Den 210, San Antonio native. What's up? We've got Fave Veggie Vegan at Fave Veggie Vegan. David Brown. We got Simon Sanders, who has a podcast about podcasting and all this other good stuff. So y'all go check him out. Don't worry, I wasn't a paid advertisement. We got Myron the Mark has a podcast as well. Listen to us, pretty good, guys. Y'all go check him out at Myron the Mark. I think he has an OP at the end. So Ruth Soledad, Melvin Jackson. We got CJ Johnson, or Hayes as he likes to be called. So you can follow him at CEO Hayes, Haize. We got Colton Putnam. We've got Charles Winan. We've got Pro Wrestling Chaos, David Conrad. We've got Mike Maverick. Guys from Queens. We've got Wrestling Rodeo, or Rodeo, depending on what side of the country you're in.
Yeah.
We've got Anthony McGinnis. We've got Eric Newton. We've got Glenn Derby, Cassidy Keith. My boy, the Broken Joker. This dude is funny as heck, man. He was going on about not being interested in purchasing the Mayweather uh, McGregor fight and finding other means, but yeah, that's another topic for another day. At Joker of the South, I'll go check him out. Jessica A. Cesar. We've got Pascal Demigiot. We've got David Bowles, and we've got the WWE podcast. I'm pretty sure that's unofficial because there's underscores in between the WWE podcast. So y'all go check them out. And then as far as interactions are concerned, I got to give shout outs to Matt Ryan, Ozzy Dead, David Bowles, the Lone Star, Shinsuke Nakamura, who were included on that tweet that got tweeted out and liked by Shinsuke. Our boy from 205 Live, got to give it up to my boy Mustafa Ali. Got to give it up to the Broken Joker, Global Canvas Club, Aaron Airwolf, Mustafa Ali. I already said that. And then one more. So if you guys didn't watch 205 Live, the match between and what's his name? Oh my goodness! Why am I drawing a blank?
Davari.
Yeah, Ari Davari. That match was definitely a top 10 contender for match of the year. If you guys have not gone and see it, Ari Davari, fantastic frog splash from the top, sick. It was a thing of beauty. And our boy, Arya Davari, gave us some love on Twitter, and I appreciate you retweeting us out and help bring in the followers there as well. So keep up the good work there. We see nothing but good. We get of both you and Mustafa Ali. So please keep up the good work, and thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back this week. Had a good week. Sage, I hate to tell you this, but I may leave you in the dust again next week because I'm going on vacation again.
God damn, man.
I might be going back to the beach next weekend, but I have a good feeling that old Sage Mark might be leaving Ben Goosen to ride solo when he takes his annual 2-week hiatus. I don't know if he is or not, but we'll see. I might be on next week. I'm about 95% sure I'll be back next week because, Ben Goosen, I'm all about the beach. I'm all about the vacation. Two, everybody, thank you for listening today. Really appreciate it. Visit Patreon, IRWP.us. Visit us on Google, Twitter, all the social media. We're even on the Instagram. Got some good pictures up. So hit us up. Again, I'm Ben Goosen. Hit me up. IRWP has all of our contact information. And I don't have anything else to say other than to keep it real.
Keep it real, guys.